Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, and if it's your first time here, welcome! I'm Mrs. Buds. I'm a wife, a mother, and a teacher, and I make videos on how to make researching, parenting, and homemaking a little bit fun and easy. In this video, I will try, yes, you heard it, I will try to discuss with you the qualitative research and its different kinds, their purposes, and their application. So I will try because I do have my biases. I am really not a fan of qualitative. I am more into quantitative studies because for me, it's easier to analyze the numbers. It's easier to compute the numbers using statistics rather than analyze words and gather data using qualitative research. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to try to help you understand the qualitative research and their uses in different scenarios. So, let's start. The quantitative study involves a wide population or a wider coverage. Qualitative studies goes beyond the surface. It goes deeper into asking why questions and into finding meanings on things. So in quantitative studies, we only ask for agree or disagree, yes or no, but we don't ask questions as to why people agree or disagree, why people said yes, why people said no. And this is the purpose of the qualitative studies, to look into the meaning of their yeses, their nos, their agrees and disagrees, and many more. That's why qualitative study is really important because it goes beyond what we see on the surface. It really goes deeper into it. Therefore, qualitative research is into the details. It studies why such things happen, what factors affect this event, why such a person behave like this, why they say yes, why they agree, why they disagree, and why they said yes. Another characteristic of a qualitative study is that it involves smaller population. If a quantitative research can study 1 million of population, this quantitative study can go with just one subject. If a quantitative study is more focused on the generability or being able to generalize your findings because you have a wide population, a wider setting, qualitative study, on the other hand, focuses on the transferability as a way to validate their findings. Meaning, if the findings that they have gathered in a certain group of people, they will check if it's the same or if it's transferable to another group. And if it does, then they would see a pattern. Qualitative research is very, very useful when we want to look deeper into sensitive issues because there are things that numbers cannot really explain, such as the answers to the whys and the hows of things. And qualitative studies allows us to have a wider context of a people's experiences across his lifespan, across different cases and situations. So now let's start with the different kinds of the qualitative research. Let's start with phenomenology. This refers to the descriptive study of how a person or individuals experience a certain phenomenon. Okay, phenomenology. So the fundamental questions that you will ask or you will consider when doing a phenomenological study is the meaning, the structure, and the essence of the lived experience of the person or the persons in this event. So, it's easy to spot a phenomenological study because some of the titles would usually have the lived experiences. So, in order to do this, you need to conduct an in-depth interviews, in-depth investigation of or an access to the individual's life in that certain event. Okay, so for example, you want to know the lived experience of COVID-19 survivors. So you would ask questions about their experience from the time they got the symptoms to how they recovered. Or another example of a phenomenological study is that of the lived experiences of the families of COVID-19 survivors. So instead of interviewing the person who got the virus, you will interview the immediate family, those who were also part of this battle. So that's a phenomenological study. You just want to know a certain experience in a certain event. Okay, next one is ethnography. So when we say ethnography, it talks about people. Ethno means people and graphy means write. So writing about people, it involves studying cultures, their way of life, and so more of a socio-anthropological type of research. Also, it studies about the shared beliefs, the values, the practices, the language, the norms, the rituals, and the materials of a certain culture and why they have this. In order to conduct this study, you would really observe their culture, you would live with them, you would really immerse with them, so you would really understand why such things, why such beliefs are important or matter to the people you are studying. So the basic questions to ask here are, what are the cultural characteristics of this group of people or the cultural scene? So what's the significance of this to this people? So the findings or the final report should provide a rich and holistic description of the culture or the group of people you are studying. Another example of a qualitative research is case study. It's a detailed account and analysis of one or more cases. So the questions that you need to consider are, what are the characteristics of the case that you are studying, or the comparisons, similarities, or differences of the cases that you are studying. Case studies are in-depth investigation of a single person, group, event, or community. So research may also extend in a longer period of time. For example, if you're familiar with the marshmallow study, the first students, the first kids who were tested with that were really part of a case study, and their lives were really studied all throughout the years. So their grades, anecdotal records from their teachers, their photographs. I think the main goal is to see if their patients would relate to their intelligence or success in life. I'm not really sure of that, but that's how a case study works. Another example of a case study is, for example, you want to study a high-profile criminal and you want to know why this person becomes such. What was his childhood like? What are the factors that lead him to become this person? So that is also a case study. So you would really look into what formed the behavior. So that's a case study. Another kind of a qualitative research is that of a grounded theory. I really have a hard time explaining this part because I also am having a hard time understanding this, simply because it has no structure at all. It means, when you say it doesn't have a structure, you don't know what you are going to come up with. Your goal here is to come up with a theory or an explanation. That is why it is called bottoms up, meaning you started from different empirical studies, and then from these empirical studies you will create your own theory or your own explanation on why such things happen. So what are the different approach to grounded theory? You can use experiments, you can do secondary data or literature review, you can do interviews or do your own observations, even the case studies. So you have gathered a lot of case studies, you do focus group discussions, a lot of interviews, and then if you have finally came to the saturation point, meaning new concepts are emerging from the data that you are gathering. So that is a time that you have said that, okay, my data is complete. When you do a grounded theory, you have a lot of work to do, a lot of data gathering to do, a lot of coding, interpreting, till you reach the point of theoretical saturation. The end goal of this approach, the grounded theory approach, is that you come up with a theory or an explanation from all the data that you have gathered. Last but not the least is the biographical study. It is considered an exhaustive account of a life experience or the collection and analysis of a person's whole life or a part of its life. I'm pretty sure you've read a lot of biographies already, and some of it are even autobiography or self written by the author itself. So when we say biographical study, you wanted to study a person's life or just a portion of his life. So an example of this is the life of Jose Rizal. A lot of biographies are written about Jose Rizal. If you really want to study biographical study, you do in-depth and unstructured interview. The difference between structured and unstructured interview is that structured is that you don't get to follow up because you are limited by a structure, compared to an unstructured interview. Every time you would ask questions, you can do follow up, and you can ask questions based on their initial response. So that's the difference between structured and unstructured interview. In addition to biographical study, you can add from the interviews, you can study documents or books already written about that person that you are writing about. So let's say you want to study the life of Jose Rizal. There are so many books and documents written about him already, so you can use that as your secondary data. I think the letters of Jose Rizal, his previous letters, his previous poems, those were also part of his biographical studies. That's it, guys. These are the types of qualitative research: biographical, ethnography, phenomenology, case study, and a grounded theory, which is very difficult to explain in a very simple term. But yeah, these are the types of qualitative research, and it gives us more meaning about things if we use them well. That's it about qualitative research and its kinds. I hope I was able to help you understand this a little bit easier. I hope you learned from this video, and if you do, please don't forget to give this a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. And please do follow me on Instagram at the_learning_mama for more of my life lessons and random music. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye! If you have message or if you have questions, I recently removed and deleted my Facebook app on my cell phone, so you can easily reach me on Instagram. So you can send me there a DM if you have concerns. A lot of you have sent me emails. I wasn't able to read some because it went directly to spam. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, if you really want to reach me, you can easily reach me on Instagram. So that's it. Thank you very much, guys, for watching and for subscribing. Bye!